What do you guys think is better, a queen or three minor pieces? Well, you might be surprised to learn that actually the three minor pieces perform better than the queen in most cases. The queen's a really dangerous piece, right? It can move across the board very quickly, it's the fastest piece in chess. But the three minor pieces, they can work incredibly well together, control tons of squares, especially when the bishop pair's involved. And the queen oftentimes becomes a huge target. So today I'm going to show you guys an example of this idea where my opponent traded his queen for three minor pieces. And I'm going to show you how I basically got suffocated by this guy. Couldn't do anything. My queen was hopeless. It was getting chased around the board. I had nowhere to go. And just see how you can maybe apply this concept to your games. All right, let's get into it. So to start the game, we have e4, and I played c5, and then they played knight f3, going for the open Sicilian. I was trying to go for a Najdorf, that's my main, and I played d6. And they opened it up with d4. They try to open up with d4. Can't talk. Takes, and we do get a Najdorf. And here they play bishop c4. And I know this is like the start of like the Fischer-Sozin attack and stuff, but I don't really see this move too often. So it's something I'm looking into. I need to learn like a better response to. But here I really don't like the influence of this bishop, and you'll see later on this bishop becomes basically the key factor. It's his best piece. So I block it off with e6. I just want to lower the influence that this bishop has in the game. He plays bishop b3. I play bishop d7 or e7. He castles, I castle. We're still in theory. And then okay, here's the first key moment of the game. He plays f4, which is a move I was kind of expecting. But I wasn't exactly sure how to respond to. I had a couple ideas. I wanted to kind of play queen b6, pin the knight, and but the thing is, if I play queen b6 immediately, he has bishop e3, excuse me, bishop e3, and then I'm just walking myself into a possible like discovered attack and everything, and it just didn't seem right to me. So I didn't give up on the idea immediately. The next thing I was thinking about was, okay, can I protect that square? So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can get my knight into a g4, and so that makes bishop e3 impossible. But the thing is, knight's not defending on that square, so I was thinking, okay, maybe I could do this with tempo. I could play this move e5, and the problem with e5 is it really weakens this d5 square, which becomes a headache later on. But my idea was, if I push e6, then I can play I can then play knight g4, and then I can play queen b6. And if this knight ever moves, we have a nice tactic with the king whenever the king moves. So this is why I played e6, but it's inaccuracy. Machine doesn't like it. We're still about equal. It's not the worst move in the world. He plays knight. I need to work on my coordinates sometimes. I can do it well with white, but black is still tough for me. But he plays knight f5. I take. I gotta get rid of this knight. It's too strong. Really don't want him to take my bishop. He takes back. And here I played queen d7. And my idea was, he's gonna... Basically, I want to get more pieces behind this backwards pawn right here on d6. I want to try to push... Really, black would be really happy if they could push d5 right now. But the problem is, white has too much control. That's great. They got knight on c3. They got the bishop on b3. They got the queen on d1, exerting a lot of force. And I know knight d4, knight e5 is coming in pretty soon. So in hindsight, I kind of wasted time on that move. I really should have just gone like knight c6 or something like that. Like, let's see if I play here. Let's see what they want. Best move, yeah, knight c6. And he ends up taking. He gets rid of his weakness a little bit, but I get rid of mine as well by taking here. And then he ends up playing queen e2, and here I played the best move. Finally get the knight in there, and then he plays bishop g5. And here I'm a little bit wary about this knight coming in, but I also, the main thing on my mind at this point was, okay, there's possible tactics involving this bishop checking the king. If I can get this rook on this file with the queen, like, it could be good for me. So first thing I did was I played rook d8, which isn't an accuracy. And here they end up playing rook d1. They end up playing rook d1. And so I have to move my queen somewhere. So I ended up moving it to queen c7. And here he ends up taking. And then I realized that I'm kind of in a little bit of trouble here. So he takes, and really I should just take it back. But my thinking was, right now, if I take back, I'll show you. If I take back, then the knight has a possible fork here. And I guess I suppose I could have played queen d8, but I really didn't like putting my queen in the line of this rook. Possible discoveries, it could be pretty bad. So, but really, if you look at it, there's nothing really super dangerous that he could play, but I really didn't like it. So instead of that, I went a little crazy. I'll show you guys in a second. I went a little crazy. Oh my god, I'm lagging. Okay, instead of that, I go a little bit crazy. So I mentioned the knight d5 move, right? I wanted to avoid those things, but I really just made it really worse for myself. So here, what I was thinking was, hey, remember those tactics I was talking about against this queen on this e-file? I was thinking, you know, if I leave this pawn undefended, I could leave this pawn undefended. Okay. I was thinking, if I attack the queen here, it buys me some time. So it means knight d5 is not coming in immediately, because let's say I play this, it is a blunder. But my thinking was, okay, he plays here, then I can take his queen with check, and then move my queen to safety, and I'm fine. And if he takes with the bishop, same thing. We take the queen with check, and he takes with the queen. And if he takes with the queen, we actually, my idea here was knight f3, which, pretty interesting idea. Basically, it's a fork on the king and queen, so he's got to take, otherwise he just loses his queen. But once he takes with the rook. Now we can do this little skewer idea, discover attack idea I had. So I ended up playing bishop c5, and the queen took. And this is the position that I was talking about at the beginning. So here, when the dust settles, they have 3 minor pieces for my queen. Both of us still have 2 rooks. And, you know, even though I have the queen, white, according to the engine, is plus 3.7. And you really start to see why if you look at the position a little bit longer. Yeah, the bishop's hanging for the moment. He's going to move it. He could even play like rook here, for instance, right away, and bishop wouldn't even have to move. This bishop is incredibly strong. My queen doesn't really have any squares can go. I mean, look, this rook is controlling all of these squares. God, I wish I could click these squares better. Controlling all these squares. You know, the knight's controlling these. You know, bishop's controlling all these. I mean, I don't really have any places I can put my queen. And that's something I kind of started to realize. And so here he plays bishop d4. And at this point, I realized I was kind of in trouble. I don't really have a good place to put my queen. There was a couple of candidate moves. This came to mind, but then you get hit with knight d5 again. You know, I didn't want to put my bishop here because then you get skewered. So I ended up playing queen a5. And once he plays rook g3, I realize that I am in deep shit. You look at this attack is super strong. He's threatening rook g7 check. And there's not really anything I can do to stop that, actually. I'd love to play this move. Maybe not right this second because he could just take. But I can't even move this pawn because of this bishop. Which, again, I was starting with this bishop at the beginning. And it ends up being his S piece. So, I didn't really know what to do. So I just took. My thinking was he takes. I can play this move. Obviously don't want to walk into discovered attacks, so I go here. And then he plays this move. And I realized that I can't move my queen. If I move my queen, it's mate. It's literally mate. Move my queen somewhere that doesn't offend the square. I could move it here maybe, but still, it's basically mate. So really the only thing I could do was either play my rook up here, which pins it to the king, so he's got to take. But then I'm like, for instance, something like this here, but like I just bought myself one more move. And there's nothing. If I had a check, it could be, you know, something useful. If they didn't have the bishop pair, I could maybe get some checks here. We wouldn't have to worry about you know, attacks on this f7 pawn as much if this bishop was in the picture. But the fact that they have both these bishops staring down my king, the bishop pair can be scary sometimes, guys. So I decide to take the rook, and here it's kind of desperation mode. I have no way to defend this pawn adequately. For instance, if I played rook e7, then he just has bishop c5, and my rook's pinned. I'm losing it. He still has the attack on this, and he might not even take my rook. He might just play it because my rook is pinned, so I can't move it. So I decide, okay, I can't defend this pawn. I just move, and I basically can't do anything at this point. The pieces surround my position, and yeah, it's just my king just gets suffocated and just checkmated in a super brutal way. So yeah, I think really what you could take from this, guys, is that we go back to the position when I traded. Here I should have just taken the bishop, and I knew that, but I tried to get fancy, and this is when you see the real power of the three pieces. So just remember that. So remember that in your games. Like, if you have an opportunity to trade your queen for three pieces, definitely do it, because yeah, the queen is strong, but especially when you have the bishop pair, like, I would go ahead and make that trade most of the time, because like these guys are so strong, they can work together. The queen basically is just a target. Like, if you saw like most of the game, besides me avoiding checks, my queen had nowhere to go, and if it went somewhere, it was getting chased away, or I had to take something. So that's something you guys can maybe bring to your games, is those opportunities, if you have it, to possibly trade your queen for three pieces. Go ahead and do it. Might give you some kind of advantage like this game. But yeah, this was actually originally supposed to be in a rating climb video, but I realized that I didn't record any audio after like an hour and a half of recording. But you know, live and learn, I suppose. But lost this game. But afterwards, I thought it would be great content, a great idea to make a video on. Nothing too long or anything, but yeah, I mean, hopefully this taught you guys something, and maybe think about this concept, these kind of trades, bring those to your games. But anyways, I don't really have much else to share, so y'all take care, be safe, and peace.